Welcome back, Love Nation. Please like, share, and subscribe if you have not done so already. This is chapter 11 of the Justin Baldoni countersuit concerning the It Ends With Us movie with Blake Lively. And we're going to get straight into this. Again, like, share, and subscribe. This is chapter 11. And here we go, guys. In the CRD complaint published in the Party by the Times, Blake Lively suggests Heath walked in her trailer unannounced while in a state of undress and having no clothes on, which is false. Heath was invited into her trailer along with a female producer, Justin Baldoni, and a Sony representative for a meeting requested by Blake Lively. Mr. Heath arrived first to see if Blake Lively was ready for the meeting, and after knocking and being invited in, saw that Blake was milking. She was not topless. She was having makeup removed from her collarbone while fully covered. Heath asked if they should return at a later time. Blake Lively said no, they could move forward with the meeting as initially planned and would meet them after she finished removing makeup. Roughly 2 weeks later, Blake Lively announced that she thought she had seen Heath make eye contact with her. Heath immediately apologized and said he hadn't even realized he looked her way. In response to which Blake Lively remarked, "I know you weren't trying to cop a look." A reference to the incident conveniently showed up on a document months later, distorted like the others and out of context in a list that the Times later published as fact. By the time Wayfair received the Protections for Return to Production document, Wayfair had invested millions of dollars, completed half the film with Blake Lively as a lead, and incurred substantial costs in preparation to resume production immediately following the strikes. However, instead of returning to work as anticipated, they received Lively's list of demands in the spirit of ensuring Blake Lively felt comfortable on set. Wayfair promptly agreed to her terms, despite disagreeing with the insinuations underlying them. Neither Wayfair, Heath, or Justin Baldoni hadn't engaged in any of the behavior alluded to in the return to production document, nor did they plan to. They thought that was the end of it, and they were ready to move ahead and make a great film. It was agreed that filming would resume on January 5th of 2024. On the evening of January 4th of 2024, Baldoni, Heath, and producers Todd Black and Alex Sachs, a representative of Sony and Film's first AD, were invited to Lively and Reynolds' penthouse in New York City. They arrived eager to discuss plans for the next day's filming, prepared with their production materials. Instead, they were blindsided by Blake and Ryan Reynold, who presented a list of grievances that were both unanticipated and troubling. Ryan Reynolds launched into a tirade berating Justin Baldoni in what Baldoni later described as a traumatic encounter, stating he had never been spoken to like this in his life. Ryan Reynolds demanded an apology to Blake Lively for actions that were mischaracterized and demonstrably false. See below. When Baldoni resisted apologizing for what he had not done, Ryan became further enraged. Everyone, including the producer Blake Lively had asked production to engage, and representative of Sony that was in attendance, left that meeting in shock. The producer offered that in his 40-year career he had never seen anyone speak to someone like that in a meeting. The Sony representative mentioned that she would often think of that meeting, and her one regret is that she didn't stop Ryan Reynolds berating Justin Baldoni. On the very first page of her CRD complaint, Blake Lively inaccurately claimed that a list of 30 items was agreed upon during this meeting. This assertion is categorically false. The 30-point list is strategically positioned to appear as if it was a standalone written document. However, no such document was ever presented to Justin, the Wayfarer team, or to their knowledge anyone else, whether during that meeting or in any other time, and therefore could not have been agreed to. In reality, many of these items were encountered for the first time in the CRD complaint itself and include references to highly disturbing events that never occurred. The repeated use of the phrase, "no more," before each demand falsely suggests that these alleged incidents had previously taken place and needed to cease. This implication is not only misleading but entirely untrue. Baldoni and Heath left the meeting deeply unsettled by the implications of Blake Lively and Reynolds' behavior and the power dynamics at play. Faced with mounting pressure and weighing the financial implications of what shutting down a film halfway through production would mean, Wayfarer made the difficult decision to resume production and finish the film despite fears that Blake Lively was intentionally manipulating facts for her own gain. The stakes were extraordinarily high. Financiers had invested substantial resources. Hundreds of cast and crew members had endured months without work due to the strikes, and nearly 5 years of development had gone into bringing this film to life. Filming resumed without further grievances or references to prior disputes from Blake Lively, a fact that Blake Lively concedes in her CRD complaint. It states, the party agreed to implement and follow the protections for return to production to ensure that the film could be completed, marketed, and released safely and successfully. And it was. Production of the film resumed on January 5th and concluded on February 9th of 2024. The film has been a resounding success. However, the lasting effects of Blake Lively's allegations left Justin Baldoni uneasy. He and Wayfarer continued to make considerable concessions throughout production, all of the interest of successfully delivering an outstanding film. Section 4. Blake Lively takes over editing, fires the film's editor and composer, and creates her own version of the film at Wayfarer's expense, while the rightful director continues to edit his cut of the film. The Directors Guild of America, DGA, mandates a 10-week protected period during which the director of a feature film is entitled to privately edit the film and assemble their director's cut. This period is considered sacred, providing the director with uninterrupted time to creatively shape the final product, an opportunity to experiment, take risks, and refine until the film fully reflects their artistic vision. For Justin Baldoni, this period represents the pinnacle of the filmmaking process, a time to immerse himself in the creative craft, free from external influences. Unfortunately, he was denied this essential experience. Blake Lively requested to join Justin Baldoni in the editing bay. As a seasoned professional with over 20 years of experience in the entertainment industry and having grown in a family deeply involved in the film, Blake Lively was fully aware of the implications of her request. In fact, her request implicitly acknowledged that it infringed upon Justin's protected period. Nevertheless, in the aftermath of the serious false allegations she had leveled against the production, Baldoni, Wayfarer, and Sony reluctantly agreed to grant her access to the editing bay for 2 days. Notably, despite her allegations that Justin Baldoni made her uncomfortable, Blake Lively sought to spend prolonged close time with him in the confined and collaborative space of the editing bay. What began as a 2-day collaboration extended into 10 days, during which Blake Lively sought to work alone in the editing bay without Justin Baldoni. Despite Baldoni's incorporating 7 pages of her notes into his own edit at the very onset and consistently keeping her involved in every subsequent edit. Blake Lively expressed dissatisfaction with mere collaboration, asserting that she too deserved the opportunity to see her creative vision realized. She requested exclusive time with the editors. In response, Wayfarer flew Baldini's editor to New York to assist Blake Lively in the process. Eventually, Lively fired the film's editors, replacing them with her own choice, specifically an editor often used by Ryan Reynolds. She also fired the film's award-winning composer, replacing him with composers from Ryan Reynolds' recent projects. Against repeated objections, Blake Lively created her own cut of the film at Wayfarer's Sony's expense. Sony later informed Wayfarer that Blake Lively would not promote the film unless her demands were met. Believing that Blake Lively's edit would simply supplement Baldini's work, Baldini continued refining his director's cut. However, faced with the possibility of Blake Lively refusing to promote the film or approve any related marketing material, such as trailers, posters, and social media posts, a scenario that would have had catastrophic implications. Wayfarer and Baldini felt compelled to acquiesce. This included funding a friend and family screening of a version of the film they had not approved or even seen, entirely at Blake Lively's insistence. Having already invested millions of dollars, along with years of time, energy, and personal sacrifice, Wayfarer and Baldini were left with no viable alternatives. Wayfarer and Sony found themselves in an unprecedented and uncomfortable predicament. Two competing versions of the film, created by two different individuals, one of whom had no contractual or creative right to edit the film, let alone produce their own cut. Faced with Lively's threat to withhold promotion of the film, the studio reluctantly agreed to do an official audience test of both versions, Blake Lively's cut and Baldini's director's cut, once again at Wayfarer's and Sony's expense. This decision was made with the understanding that Blake Lively had agreed with Sony that if Baldini's cut tested higher, she would drop the matter and fully cooperate, and Justin Baldoni could proceed, finishing the film without Blake Lively's editorial interferences. Unsurprisingly, despite Justin Baldoni's cut scoring significantly higher with audiences, the film's target demographic, Blake Lively renegated on her promise. She insisted that her cut be the version released to the public, even going so far as to claim that the author of the book would also refuse to promote the film if Blake Lively's version was not chosen. Under immense pressure, Sony and Wayfarer once again conceded. We're going to get into section 5 of Blake Lively's demand of producer credit and undeserved PGA mark in chapter 12. You guys, this is a very, very spicy, detailed response to Blake Lively's suit. I definitely want your opinion below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Share your comments respectively. I also have other cases that I am reading through. So please join me as we read through the Drake lawsuit. We're also going to get into Alec Baldwin as well as Meg Thee Stallion. And until next time, you guys, be safe and enjoy your day. Bye, guys.